ain't got no boundaries to hold me back. Boundaries is what I lack. Howdy, folks, and welcome to the Conflation Station. Hop on board the next train out, and let's take a ride to a place where anything's possible.
Hello and welcome to the Conflation Station. My name is Hugo Yorway and I'll be your tour guide for today's podcast, including political commentary, conspiracy theories, and some cool music from the Electric Love Orchestra. At the Conflation Station, our team of creative writers and novice journalists combine elements of irony, satire, and pure absurdity to create insightful political commentary and homespun conflated conspiracy theories taken from today's news headlines. With all the misinformation, disinformation, malinformation out there, and where fake news is generated by artificially intelligent robots, whether you want to believe it or not, anything you hear on the network news today might just as well be a work of fiction. To the contrary, at the Conflation Station, you can always count on us as your most trusted news source, exercising the utmost journalistic integrity and fairness. And if you're wondering where the Reverend Rusty Stubblefield is taken off to, you can still listen to his political insights and social commentary, along with him singing the music of E. Dudex, by listening to the Rusty Stubblefield for President show, broadcast weekly from the Conflation Station's affiliate in Frankfort, Kentucky. Today, our podcast features stories about President Trump's unlawful missile strikes on Venezuelan maritime vessels in the Caribbean Sea and his unlawful destruction of the East Wing of the White House. Just in. According to information obtained by our team of novice reporters, F-35 fighter jets sank a Disney cruise ship in the Caribbean Sea while it was on its return voyage from Disney Island back to the port of Miami. The ship was in international waters at the time. According to self-proclaimed Department of War Secretary Pete Hegseth, quote, "The ship was in the water. It was fair game," end quote. While Trump was elected on a policy platform that promoted a major crackdown on drug smuggling in the Caribbean, members of Congress on both sides of the aisle, Democrats and Republicans alike, condemned the attack on a Disney cruise ship, calling it, quote, excessive. In his typical tough-talking manner, Secretary Hegseth sloughed off these concerns, saying, quote, "Our warriors will show Disney that the U.S. military is no Mickey Mouse operation," end quote. Secretary Hegseth defended the bombing, saying that, quote, "We had reason to believe that the Disney boat was transporting large quantities of Tylenol back to the United States. We estimated that, due to the number of senior citizens accompanying their grandchildren aboard the vessel, many of the seniors complaining of aches and pains, there were more than 4,000 bottles of Tylenol on the ship. We at the Department of War, along with the Department of Health and Human Services, under the leadership of Bobby," referring to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., "are on a joint mission to eradicate autism in the United States. If this shipment of Tylenol were to ever reach the shores of the U.S. and get into the hands of pregnant women, the number of children born with autism in the U.S. would more than quadruple within the next 5 years. This could potentially cripple the U.S. economy, which, according to Mein Führer Donald Trump, is the greatest economy of all time," end quote. At a press conference held on the lawn of the former East Wing of the White House, President Trump was asked about the incident. Trump said, quote, "I don't know anything about what happened, but I want to be completely transparent. When Governor Ron DeSantis tried to change Disneyland's tax status in the great state of Florida, the Disney Corporation attacked him in the fake news media and filed a lawsuit against him. The people that voted for me want to see retribution and plenty of it. And if the worst thing that could happen to Disney is that it loses one cruise ship as a result of the DeSantis incident, it's not a big deal," end quote. Our sources tell us that there were also over 2,000 children aboard the Disney cruise ship, most of them under the age of 13. The National Transportation Safety Board will be conducting a perfunctory investigation into this matter. To date, the Trump administration has launched 43 missile attacks on purported drug smuggling vessels with plans for many more attacks in the near future. Accordingly, the U.S. Navy has deployed its largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, to the Caribbean as part of its efforts to eliminate drug trafficking and narco-terrorism in the region. Hegseth said, quote, "If we have to, we will deploy nuclear submarines to the region to stop illegal drugs from flowing into the United States. So what if we fire off some nukes? It's our goal to show the rest of the world, both our allies and enemies, that the U.S. won't take no shit from no one." End quote. In addition to curbing the flow of fentanyl into the country from its southern border, the Trump administration is also targeting ships carrying the oral abortion medication known as mifepristone. Hegseth said, quote, "President Trump has made it clear that the United States is an anti-abortion nation, and if we, the military, have to join the war against abortion and women's rights, I will have both my oars in the water." End quote. In his remarks at the Southeast Asian Bloc Summit held in Kuala Lumpur this weekend, President Trump announced that he will also be authorizing attacks on cruise ships from both the Holland America fleet and Norwegian cruise lines. Trump said, quote, "Holland and Norway are NATO countries. Until such time as they continue to pay their fair share to NATO's expenses, their cruise ships are on our hit list." End quote. Trump also has plans to attack Canadian vessels traversing the St. Lawrence Seaway and the Great Lakes. And now, let's take a quick pause to enjoy a musical interlude featuring a piece by world-renowned composer E. Dudek, performed by the inimitable Rusty Stubblefield and the Electric Love Orchestra, entitled "Wrecking Ball." Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with another conflated conspiracy theory.
I'm your wrecking ball. I'll knock you down, 5-ton wrecking ball, down to the ground. I'm your wrecking ball. I'll knock you down, 5-ton wrecking ball, down to the ground. I'm your wrecking ball. I'll knock you down, 5-ton wrecking ball, down to the ground. I'm your wrecking ball. I'll knock you down, 5-ton wrecking ball, down to the ground.
Thank you, boys and girls. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Remember, the Electric Love Orchestra's complete catalog is available online at Bearberry Path Music. Our next story focuses on President Trump's obliteration of the White House's East Wing. Over the past week, President Trump took the wrecking ball to the East Wing of the White House, leveling every last square millimeter of it in what appeared to be less than a nanosecond. Trump plans to replace the East Wing with a 90,000 square foot ballroom at a cost of what has escalated from $250 to $300 million in less than a week. At her weekly press conference, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt said, quote, "Rather than using conventional backhoes and bulldozers to demolish the East Wing, the president first considered using B-2 bombers to drop the same type of bunker buster bombs used in Iran. While this would have saved taxpayers millions of dollars in demolition costs, the president chose not to do so because he was concerned it may have disrupted takeout services at his favorite local McDonald's located across the street." End quote. Many critics of the Trump Big Beautiful Ballroom have argued that the president neither had the legal authority to unilaterally demolish an entire section of the White House, nor did he have the moral authority to eradicate years of American history. Commenting on concerns about the importance of the East Wing's historical value, Trump said, quote, "Out with the old, in with the new. I'm going to give the White House a complete hysterectomy, First Lady Melania included. You can call me Captain Culture War. I've already shut down the Smithsonian. I can do whatever the hell I please with impunity. If you want, you can take your crying towel to the Supreme Court." End quote. Trump's Big Beautiful East Wing project is purported to be funded through contributions of private donors, including but not limited to tech giants such as Apple, Google, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, industrial giants such as Union Pacific Railroad, Caterpillar, Lockheed Martin, Trump's loyal friends and political allies, foreign governments such as Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Syria, Russia, China, and Iran, terrorist organizations such as the National Rifle Association, and last but not least, taxpayer dollars that would have been otherwise spent on SNAP benefits and other social welfare programs that help feed food-insecure children, the elderly, and people with life-limiting disabilities. The 90,000-square-foot ballroom will be able to accommodate 1,000 guests and will be a premier facility for entertaining foreign dignitaries at the expense of hard-working U.S. taxpayers who at the present time are in the midst of experiencing a government shutdown. When asked about financing the project, Trump said, quote, "I intend to be in the White House for many years to come, Trump in 2028. So whatever it takes to peddle global influence, I'm okay with that. Being the greatest deal maker in the history of mankind, I know that one hand washes the other, and I'll be more than happy to reciprocate when asked for a favor by a contributor to the ballroom project." Trump also intends to use the ballroom to generate revenue by using it to air broadcasts of Dancing with the Stars, The Masked Singer, and a reboot of his former hit show, The Apprentice, which will be hosted by Dr. Oz. The ballroom will also have a Las Vegas-style casino run by Trump's newly appointed Minister of Cheating, NBA Hall of Famer Chauncey Billups. In an unrelated story, this week paleontologists discovered a man who claims to be the fourth son of Adam and Eve. The man was found living in a remote cave in the Himalayas. Scientists call him Infinity Man because they believe he is the first human to achieve immortality. Scientists estimate that he's over 1 billion years old.
Well, we've reached our destination. We'll be back next week to pick you up for yet another journey to and from the Conflation Station.